Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's project video. This week I have a maple bowl blank about 8 by 3, and I'm going to be turning that into a bowl. And if you stick around until the end, you'll see why the title is called the Plan B Bowl. Went through a couple iterations before ended up where I ended up with this. So hope you enjoy the video. I'll be talking off and on throughout. So here it's mounted on a woodworm screw and with the tailstock pulled up, using a bowl gouge to get it to round. And the reason I put the tool on top is to see how out of round it is. So I get a lot of questions about the speed of the lathe here. As you can kind of see in the left-hand corner of the frame, I'm at around 550. I started out at around 400, got up to about 550, and then was able to get the speed up to around 1100 RPMs once it was round. So I use mostly a 5/8 bowl gouge that I'm using here throughout this project. I do switch back and forth from the skew chisel at times, but mostly this is the tool I'm using. It's a Carter & Sons 5/8 bowl gouge. I have a link in the video description if you're interested in checking it out. It's a very high quality tool, and I am not sponsored or paid in any way to say that. Here's the skew chisel starting to flatten the bottom and make a tenon. Finalizing the tenon and rounding over the side a little bit of a different angle. Still working on the sides and the bottom. Using a combination of push and pull cuts and shear scraping. This is the pull cut. Push cut. A little bit of shear scraping there. And on to sanding. A quick sanding montage here. Sanded from 120, went to 180, 220, 320, and you guessed it, 400. Using some denatured alcohol to wipe the surface free of dust and debris. And yes, I am using white spray paint. I'm not crazy, I promise. There's a reason for this. Yeah. Whoa. Here I'm using some tape to mask off some sections of the bowl. I'll be using some different color spray paint. And I should explain why I ended up here using spray paint. I didn't include it in the video because it would have been too long, but a couple of the versions of the bowl that I had before getting to this point, I had used stain, and that was the idea I had going in, and the grain on the outside just wasn't working with the stain and what I had in mind. The grain on the inside of this bowl, believe it or not, was much prettier than the grain on the outside. So here we are with some black spray paint, just spraying some around the upper portion of the bowl. Once this dried, I went on to a metallic blue color. And once that dried, I started peeling off the tape, which is always the fun part. So as you can see, the tape worked pretty well. It's coming off pretty clean. There was a couple minor areas where it bled through it just a little bit. I don't know if you can even tell on camera. So the idea I was going with using this tape was kind of a geometric pattern. So let me know what you think in the comments if I achieved that, or if there was a better way or style I could have used. So now that all the tape is off, here's a view from the bottom. Cleaning it off with a Scotch-Brite pad before applying. I think I used 3 coats of lacquer in total. Just film the first one. Taking it off the worm screw, removing the worm screw from the chuck, and then reverse chucking it in the 4-jaw chuck, mounting it so I can hollow out the inside. Still with the 5/8 bowl gouge here. I did sharpen a few times during this project, which I usually do. Just going slow because the tailstock is not pulled up. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on the outside so as not to break the tenon. So still taking pretty cautious cuts here, going slow, making sure the tool is sharp, and just being very gentle, letting the tool do the work. And now would be a good time to mention, if you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything, it's completely free, and it helps my channel grow. So thank you in advance, I really appreciate that. Sanding, trying some power sanding here. I didn't film all the sanding, but I sanded from the same grits, from 120 grit to 400 grit. Here, just applying some denatured alcohol, and then this is sanding sealer. Once that dried, using a Scotch-Brite pad to denib it. And then I'll go on to the Axe products. This is the Axe abrasive paste. And if you're interested in getting some, axewoodpaste.com and use code PF10 for 10% off. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I almost always, at least 9 times out of 10, use axe in my projects. And that's because it's a great product. I highly recommend it if you're a woodworker, wood turner, and haven't tried it yet. It is a really, really good product. So check it out. Made in the USA, food safe. This is the polishing paste. And if you want, watch here when you can see it shine before it even stops. And I really have just started buffing it here. It really does a great job. So thank you, Axe. Look at that shine. Taking it off of the chuck here. A little bit of a showcase of the bowl. I am going to be taking the foot off. Using a paper towel so not to damage the bowl or the paint at all. Starting to take off the tenon with the skew chisel, just going very slow, very lightly, as the bowl is only supported at the rim. Here is the bowl gouge. And although it didn't take long, you do have to be careful. Here's the branding logo for PF Woodturning. Applying sanding sealer over the logo and the foot of the bowl. And then I will use Axe products again. And then it will be done. The Axe sanding paste, abrasive paste, and then onto the polishing paste in a second. So thank you so much to everyone who is watching or who has watched any other video. I really appreciate it. We are creeping up on 10,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please, please do. You might be the 10,000th subscriber, which would be pretty cool. So here it is. Some pictures here at the end, of course. Thanks for sticking around. That grain on the inside really turned out nice. Thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate you watching. Until next week, peace out.